Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Me, I had an okay day today. I had counseling, and I always feel like counseling days can go two ways. I can feel very productive, or I can feel like it's a bit of a setback because it emotionally takes me to a place that sometimes I don't like to remember, or I remember but I just haven't thought about it in a while. But this time when I went with an agenda. You see, I live in New York State, and Governor Cuomo passed this law called the let me look at it. I believe it's called the Child Victims Act. And basically, it is something where you can go up until the age of 55 and seek litigation when you have been a victim of sexual abuse. And there was a quote that he said that I would just wanted to share. Um, oh, shoot, I saw it. And then, of course, when I want to talk to, he said it's the society's way of saying we're sorry. And it made me think a couple things. First of all, it was a long time coming. Second of all, I think it's a great thing. I feel kind of bittersweet about it because I don't know if you keep up in the news, but there's been a lot in the news all around, probably the world, but I know in our country about sexual abuse in the priesthood. And I'm not bashing any sort of religious thing, so I don't want to get off on that. But I feel like ever since they've done this investigation in the city I live in with the diocese, dioceses, I believe I say that right. Forgive me if I'm saying it incorrectly. I feel like there's been an open dialogue to talk about sexual abuse. And as usual, I think it's something that comes more in the forefront when we're talking about males as victims. And, more sympathetic I could not be. I don't think sexual abuse is something that is just a crime against females. I don't think it's just a crime against males. But I do feel like there's a double standard sometimes. But at any rate, I don't care how it came across. The fact that our local governments and our governments being proactive about it is a great thing. And I was thinking about possibly going ahead and going through a lawsuit to bring my accusers, or not my accusers, I'm sorry, that sounded so weird, to bring the people that I have accused of the rapes that I was victim to justice. And I wanted to talk to my counselor today about getting information on where I would turn to next and what it would look like, what I would do. And it was so strange because I was very hesitant. There was part of me that didn't want to go forward with it. And I thought to myself, why is that? Is it that I'm so comfortable in being a victim that I don't want justice? No, that's not what it is. Honestly, and I hope I don't get a lot of flack for it, I was a little mad at myself for even feeling this way. Part of me didn't want to disrupt them. I felt like their lives went on and I didn't want to make a ruckus. And that's part of me being a victim and taking the shame that came along with what they did to me and leaving the guilt on me where it doesn't belong. And I had to tell myself, wait a minute, you didn't ask for this burden. You've carried it for so many years. Why wouldn't you want to give it back to the person that it belongs to? And then I thought about how we treat victims, how people, when they go on trial and they pursue justice, how in our country you are innocent until proven guilty, and what that looks like as a victim going for justice, leaving yourself open and vulnerable to the court of public opinion. Of course, they're not going to admit to what they've done. Maybe they will. I highly doubt it. they're going to fight it. And does that mean that your life's going to be put on display? Will your dirty secrets come out? Will my character be assassinated? I worry about those things. What will it do to Mike? He's already very touchy when I talk about this subject. You see, he wants to do the instant gratification, find the person that hurt me and hurt them back. And while I admire him for loving me so much and wanting to protect me, making that person hurt or making that person go away doesn't change what happened to me, doesn't change what happened to my friends and to other possible victims that this person's gone ahead and perpetrated this against. But I can understand. I know with a lot of time, not only men, women as well, but mostly men, they're fixers. They see where something's hurting and they want to fix something. And their way of doing that is to make a problem go away. But you see, a problem like this doesn't go away. Unfortunately, I've said a million times, when you've been a victim of sexual abuse, whether you've been raped, molested, whatever the case may be, it's like dying 1,000 times. The degradation is real. Sometimes you close your eyes and it feels like it happened yesterday. And sometimes you close your eyes and it feels like it just happened 5 minutes ago. And I should have put a warning. This might be triggering, definitely triggering. So if you are sensitive to the subject, feel free to click out of this video. But it was something that I was thinking of. I had heard about it on the news, and I got a little excited to think, wow, would I finally have a chance to get some justice? And Mike didn't want me to get my hopes up, so he had said, why don't you talk to your counselor about it, see what kind of information she has available, and go from there. Because you see, when I finally came out and I told my mother about what happened, I had already been a teenager by then, and I was on probation, and I was in court-ordered psychiatry. And a friend of ours that was an attorney had advised my mother and said, you know, it would probably be really hard on Kelly if she were to pursue this matter, because her personal life and the things she's doing right now would come into play. And I just wouldn't want to see her go on the stand and be put through that. Now, I feel two ways about that. I feel that he had a valid point, but I also believe that that decision was taken from me. I was angry and I was ripe at that time, and I was ready for the fight. And I wouldn't have cared what they put me through. If that would have prevented someone else from being hurt and put in my position, I would have gladly went for justice. So I feel like justice was denied for me. And it was denied by someone who was in the authority position that could have helped me. So I felt like I was betrayed. And I'm not putting any blame. You know, I realized this gentleman was only looking out for my well-being, I guess. Felt like because he knew me personally that I went through a lot. I'm sure with him being an attorney, he's seen a lot. But he let his personal feelings get clouded. But I must admit, when I talked about it today to try to get some information and was getting some tidbits from my counselor saying, you know, this is what you want to be proactive about, and maybe going about looking to see who would represent you, how much that would cost, what that would entail. There was a part of me in the back of my mind that was thinking about, uh-oh, what will this look like? I actually caught myself asking my counselor, you do believe me that I was raped, don't you? You do believe me, don't you? Of course they believe me. And even if they didn't, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I believe me. I know what happened. But that's what happens when you're a victim. Especially when you're forced to make up a lie. And in my case, I had to live with my rapist. They fill your heads with stories and threaten you. and make you live a lie to the point where you even question your own sanity. You question reality. And all those voices came flooding back to me today. And then I thought to myself for a split second, maybe I should do what everyone tells me, or a lot of people have told me in the past. It's happened in the past, move on. But you see, it's easier said than done. Because yes, it's happened in the past. But it's not so easy to move on. Because those things affected me. They shaped me. And I owe that to the little Kelly, to the one that was a victim. I owe it to her to look for justice. So, I decided I am going to go forward and I'm going to get some information and I'm going to take initiative and get myself educated on what my next move should be. And if it turns out that it's too emotionally draining for me and I need to stop, that'll be okay too, because at least I'm being proactive. And I encourage anyone else out there, if you know about the Child Victims Act and you're looking for justice, don't let those voices of doubt and those voices from the past stop you. I'm not forcing you to make a change or do something, but I'm encouraging you. If you feel as though you deserve some justice and you want your story heard, go for it. I'm not going to say it's easy. And if I do decide to go through with this, I'm going to post this and I'm going to take you all through this with me. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. And I'm not going to lie, I'm terrified. Even though I'm opening up and telling you guys, and there's a possibility on YouTube that millions of people could see this, I don't know if I'm ready for my victimizers to hear my voice, to see me. I'm scared. But I want justice. So for as of right now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look into this. And if it turns out that money becomes a problem, which is unfortunately very possible in my case, then at least I can educate myself, and any information that I can find and I can pass along, I'll be more than happy to share on my channel so that anyone else going through this or know someone that's going through this could pass the information along and get that person educated. And if this isn't your cup of tea, if it's a little too real or just not to your liking, I understand that as well. But to anyone that took the time to watch the rest of this video, I appreciate it. We also talked about some other stuff that I want to touch upon in another video, but this message seemed really important to me, and I'm hoping that I'm speaking eloquently enough to get my point across. And even though this was a touchy subject, I do hope that this message and this video finds you well. And until I have a chance to talk to you again, I wish you well. Have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.